What's happening, everybody? Welcome into a brand new episode of Fighting Words. Anthony Sanfilippo's here. I'm Bob Wankel, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you're gonna be like, "What is going on with this guy?" I'm like leaned over, so the arm for my microphone broke, right? And I'm just trying to decide how to fix it. Do we get a new mic? What are we doing? Anthony says that I have to lean down like this to make it work. So I'm trying to make it work today.
Well, you got to lean down to make it sound better.
Yeah.
When you get comfortable and you lean back, it sounds very echoey.
Yeah, well, this is going to be a short episode because I can't be hunched over like this all day. This is just unacceptable.
Or you can hold it. Can you hold the mic?
I mean, I can't, I guess. I don't know.
You can do like all the modern, podcasters do. They don't like the arm. They don't like the mount. They like to just stand there and hold it.
Hold it? Is that what modern podcasters do? I don't.
It's weird.
This is true. I don't listen to podcasts that much very often. So I'm not really like in the whole universe,
Yeah, that's all good.
Well, anyway, look, the Phillies played baseball yesterday and they won. And it was, I think, everything that you could have reasonably hoped it would be, other than the top of the ninth inning. And certainly that was nice because it gives us something to talk about and complain about. But otherwise, it was a great start for a team that has huge expectations. And you can't, my one thing that I would say after one day is that it doesn't change anything that we felt earlier in the week. There's no real big takes that you can have, or at least for me, I don't have any new takes after opening day, but they looked the part. It felt like you expected it to feel. And you can see, like, you can dream on it a little bit. Like, you can look at this team and say, like, I get it. I see how it can come together.
Well, yeah, I mean, and of course it starts with the starting pitcher, right? I mean, Cristopher Sanchez was as good as, you could be for an opening day start.
Yeah. To
go 6 innings and have 10 strikeouts, no walks, no runs allowed. That just doesn't happen, Bob. You know what I'm saying? Like that, guys don't usually just walk out of spring training and just go out there and shut teams down for 90 pitches and just be like, all right, I'm in kind of midseason form. Like, just
yeah, I mean, look, he got into a little bit of trouble with a couple, choppers up the middle in the first inning. He pitched out of that, and then, I think McCutchen got him in his second at bat for an extra base hit. And other than that, I mean, that was it. Those were the 3 hits. 6 innings, no earned runs, 10 strikeouts, 3 hits, no walks, and a 54% whiff rate on his changeup. Not bad.
That's pretty damn good. The one thing I've actually had this conversation with my son Anthony, who is a huge baseball seam head, and he worries sometimes that ultimately something's going to give with Sanchez because he's really just a 2-pitch pitcher, right? And it's hard for a 2-pitch pitcher to really be a dominant starter like that. Usually a 2-pitch pitcher is somebody who dominates out of the bullpen, right? Usually you need that 3rd pitch or 4th pitch to kind of keep hitters off balance. But right now, everybody knows he's throwing the changeup, and they still can't hit it.
Oh, can't hit it. Yeah.
Like, as long as that pitch is that dominant, you can get away with being just basically a 2-pitch pitcher. Because if hitters can't hit a pitch they know is coming, well, then the pitch is that good, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, it's amazing. I mean, I know the season that he had in 24, like, he broke out. I mean, he truly broke out in 24 last year. He established himself as one of the game's best overall starting pitchers. And I have to say, like, there was part of me coming into this where I'm like, let's see it again. Like, how long does a guy have to do it for before you say, like, there's no question he is one of the elite of the elite? And one start doesn't make a season. At least Paul Skeens certainly hopes it does not. But, you look at this, and I want to talk about that. What a disaster that was out in center field for Pittsburgh yesterday.
It was my one last thing, but that's fine.
Yeah, well, there you go, a little tease. We'll get back to it. I mean, you just look at what he did and you go, I have to assume greatness now. I have to expect greatness. Like, it's not, well, this would be nice if he really continues to establish himself. I mean, I think the expectation here, contract aside and what happened financially to him last week aside, I think you look at this now and you just say, this guy is this good.
He absolutely is this good, Bob. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. Like, yeah, you start running out of things to say, right? You start running out of platitudes for the guy because it's the same thing every time out. It's very consistent. It's very good. I mean, he's an ace. He's an ace in the true sense of the word. And you just kind of expect him to be this pretty much every start. Yeah, I mean, he's not going to shut you out every start. He's going to give up runs here and there. But, I mean, the guy is top. I mean, I don't know. Can you name 5 pitchers in baseball better than Cristopher Sanchez?
Skubal, maybe. Yes, I would say. I think Skeens Crochet is probably in the neighborhood. You could make an argument that he's maybe a little ahead. If you want to go down the Yamamoto route, you can, I guess. Like, I mean, you just look at the odds, like he's right there. But I'll tell you what, it's crazy after one day. I mean, like, again, I don't want to take your one last thing too much, but like Skeens was not sharp yesterday, and then it was compounded by like comical play in center field. But that's a hard stat line to kick off your year with. And like the Cy Young odds do reflect that. Like Cristopher Sanchez has cut down on those odds a little bit now, plus 350 to Skeens, plus 260. Like that gap shrunk yesterday. And you go like, that's ridiculous. It's one of 32 starts potentially, but 5 earned runs versus 5 earned runs in 2/3 of an inning versus a 6 shutout. Like, yeah, you got to account for that a little bit.
You do.
Paul Skeens' career ERA yesterday jumped from 1.94 to 2.10. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. It is crazy what happened to him yesterday. But and look, yes, one start is just one start. But when you add up all of his starts, I mean, when was the last time? I haven't looked this up, so I can't give you the answer. But when was the last time Chris Sanchez had a bad start?
Well, I mean, I certainly haven't looked at it. I mean, there's an occasional hiccup or two, but I mean, he's about as consistent as it gets. And that's what, like, that kind of draws back to my original question. Like, do you expect greatness with him now? Because he, by all statistical measures, like, he is that guy. But it's just so weird to see a late bloomer. Like, the reason why it's different, like with his sample size by now, you should more than trust it. But it's because you just did not think that this is what he was. Like, that it came out of left field entirely, that he went from a legit starting pitcher, a guy that you can, work with as a number 4, number 5 type, to whoa, wait a minute, maybe there's a little bit more upside here as like a 2-3 type, to bona fide stud number 1. Like, it's just not an evolution that we're accustomed to seeing.
32 starts last year, Bob. 31 of them 4 runs or less. Only 1 start to give up more than 4 runs.
Who was the blow up against? If you have it there.
At the end of August. 5 1/3, he gave up 6 runs on 8 hits and 3 walks.
Yeah.
And that was when they went up there again and couldn't win at Citi Field, if you remember. In late August. But even the games where he gave up 4 runs, like 7 innings, 4 runs, like, it's still decent. It's like, and that was against the Dodgers in September, 7 innings and 4 runs. And then he had a 7-inning, 4 earned run, or 6 2/3, 4 earned run start against the White Sox in July. I don't remember that game. They lost to the White Sox. And then he had a 5 2/3, 4 run outing against the Dodgers in April in Philadelphia. So twice against the Dodgers, once against the Mets, and once against the White Sox. 4 runs or more. That's it. Every other start was 3 runs or fewer. Like, it's consistent. It's dominant. It's ace worthy. I don't know. I'm running out of words to say.
The bigger point is, because like I wanted to be careful not getting on here today and saying like, well, now that this thing happened in one game yesterday on opening day, this is now how I feel about the Phillies. Like, I very briefly was listening to the WIP morning show today, and I think it was said, no, I don't want to, I didn't have it exact, but there was this idea from the host that you can see the greatness of the Phillies now. Like, the expectation becomes greatness after watching yesterday. I'm like, if that's fine, if that's where you were at on Tuesday, but like, don't tell me that what you saw yesterday fundamentally changes how you feel about this team. it starts with him, though. I mean, when you talk about the idea of getting Zach Wheeler back, and if you get him back middle of this month or middle of next month, and you see these two together again, like, I don't care how you feel about the catcher. I don't care if you think that Bryce Harper is elite or is not elite. I don't care if you're worried about some form of regression from Kyle Schwarber, the corner outfielders. I don't want to say it doesn't matter, because it does matter. But if you can pair those two guys together and they're going to be this good, if Wheeler comes back and is what you expect or hope that he's going to be, and this is Cristopher Sanchez all year, and then this wild card of Jesus Luzardo being potentially, taking another step, it almost doesn't matter. Then it's a wake me up in October situation, because if those three guys all do their jobs the way you think they can, team's going to win 90 games.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, speaking of wake me up in October, Ryan Barnhart says, meanwhile, someone's calling in a WIP this morning saying, big deal, it's one game. Wake me up in October.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, if you didn't watch yesterday, like, this is one thing I'll say about yesterday's game. If you weren't excited to just see, like, the stadium on your screen, if you were at the game, it's a totally different story. It was awesome. But, like, if like me, who watched it from a bar, by the way, should I say that? Does that ruin my credibility after having been down there for 5 years and going into the clubhouse? And
no, if I wasn't, guess what, Bob? If I wasn't in the press box yesterday, I'd be watching it somewhere else too. Like,
don't worry, I did have a couple, but I did also watch the condensed version again today to make sure that I was on my stuff here and that I wasn't imagining things. So
it's an early morning for you, very busy morning.
They're rolling. So look, I mean, I saw it come on TV though and go like, this looks awesome. Just like the visual of it, like the sun, the uniforms, the fans, like the whole thing. I'm like, let's go. Like, it's so nice to have this back. Like, I don't know how you could take in yesterday's game and just be like, call me in October. Like, don't watch. Like, I mean, you're allowed to do whatever you want and consume things however you want to consume them. I'm not saying that, like, I'm not trying to, like, gatekeep the Phillies here this season, but, like, how do you not watch yesterday and go like, hell yeah, we're back?
Yeah, I mean, it's baseball season, right? And it's kind of this is the one thing I always hate about the first opening series is that you get that high of opening, and
then you got to sit here today and go like, come on.
Yeah, there's no game today, and then you got to wait, right? You got to wait until tomorrow. But it's not long. Once we get through today, all of a sudden we're basically every day for the next 7 months. Yeah. We're playing. We got some baseball to watch, right? So yeah, I mean, like, you should be excited about this team because they're going to be good again, and they're going to give you a chance again.
Yeah,
we know what happens in October, right? We know what's happened in the past, but you got to get there in order to win a world championship. You have to get there, and there is a journey, and the journey began yesterday, right? We don't know how the journey is going to end, but it began yesterday. And if you don't want to pay attention to the journey, the end is even if the end is the ultimate reward, it's not going to be as exciting for you. You got to enjoy the journey.
Yeah, like what does that look like from a consumption standpoint? You sit here and hate the team all year and don't trust them and don't believe in them, and then they get to October and they win it. You go like, okay, finally. Like, that's not fun. Like,
that's not fun. Exactly.
You proved it to me. Good for you. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's
fine. Like, I think half the people would say
it's the AJ Brown. Yeah, thanks for the championship.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, I think that half the people that say like "wake me up October" or "waking up in October," it's more just like they're still watching, they're still living and dying by it, they're still enjoying it in whatever way that they enjoy it. It's
a bunch of frauds.
Yeah, I hear you.
Absolutely.
Well, you were the one that covered the game. You tell me what stood out to you, and then we can riff on that because I have some things, but I'll let you take charge here.
Well, no, we have a bunch of things, and I know, and this not necessarily, I'm going to this next just because someone made a comment about it, not because I think this is the next most important thing to talk about, but I think it was certainly noteworthy. And Joe Carmazin mentions, even though he didn't get a hit, Adolis Garcia's at-bats weren't bad. He made some hard contact. And he's right. I know there were 2 strikeouts, and there was a couple of swings at pitches that were very Castellanos-esque. They were out of the strike zone, but I thought that there were also a couple of close takes that he did. So he showed some discipline there. And the 2 times he hit the ball, he hit hard up the middle. Second baseman just happened to be playing him there, almost like the Texas Rangers know that that's where he hits the ball. And then he smoked one down the third base line. Yeah. It was like picked really nice by by Young and threw him out at first. Those two balls, 7 times out of 10 are hits. And so, like, I looked at that and said, okay, even though he didn't get a hit, I was impressed with Adolis Garcia's at-bats.
Well, I guess the two guys that you look at yesterday that you probably weren't impressed with, number one was Harper, and I don't know. I'm like exhausted by the Harper discourse already, and we're certainly going to have it, maybe even today. But you can't talk about the Phillies without talking about Bryce Harper. I just don't have it in me to be like, what was that yesterday? Are you concerned about Bryce Harper? How come he didn't meet the moment? I just don't want to. Let's give it a week. Let's give it 10 days, and then maybe we can have an opinion on it. But the one that I look at who struggled yesterday, and I do think, not that I'm making any conclusions based off of one game, but I think we might have to recalibrate the way that we take in J.T. Realmuto. Like, 8-hitter. I think at the end of the season, it's when it's all said and done, like, he'll get hot at points, and it'll probably come out to 250, 260. It probably comes out to 14 to 16 home runs and like plays solid defense, and he's a team leader. But like, I just think I wonder when that happens, or if it plays out that way, how are we going to feel about that? Are we going to feel like, was this a bad contract?
Well,
was this something that we should not have done?
Here's an interesting thing, Bob, and I think that it's very right to ask those questions, right? I found it interesting that in the past, when JT has struggled, Rob has been reluctant to move him down to the 8th spot in the lineup, almost like out of respect. There's that whole thing, right? Like, you're a superstar player. We're not going to bat you 8th, and yet opening day he's hitting 8th. What does that tell you about where the Phillies feel about JT Realmuto? Again, let's remember, he's a bit of a consolation prize.
Yeah. Because
he was not going to be back neither him nor Alec Boehm were going to be back with this team if they signed Bo Bichette, right? So Bichette was going to replace Boehm at 3rd, and they would have gone out and traded for a catcher. There was a lot of talk about Ryan Jeffers from the Twins, right? Whoever it was going to be, it was not going to be JT Realmuto. So these guys are plan Bs. Even though that they've been here for a long time, they're plan Bs. And I think, at least for Realmuto, they're going to treat him like he was a plan B in the lineup. They're batting him down, but they still think that there's a lot of value to him in game planning, calling a game. His defensive metrics are still okay. They're not top of the league anymore. Like, I think that they still see enough value there. But yeah, from a fan perspective, be prepared for JT Realmuto to be less than what he's been in the past.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I was impressed with Justin Crawford yesterday. That was fun. I mean, I think that's the Justin Crawford experience, right? Where he makes some things happen. There's some awkward swings, some awkward contact, and he's on base 2 times. Like, do I expect him to have multi-hit games every night? No. I think we talked about what we projected his stat line to look like at the end of the year. But yesterday was a great start. It was fun. It does look a little different. It does inject a little energy into that lineup. We talk about wanting it to look different. It creates a different dynamic. And I know I was real bullish on it the other day, talking about the 8-9, or I'm sorry, the 9-1 with him and Turner and the athleticism and being able to put pressure on defenses and steal bases. And maybe I got a little carried away with my 40+ stolen bases, but I still think that you can sort of see what that might look like with those two. And on a day where they combine for 4 hits, it's easy to say that, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And neither one of them stole a bag. Only Bryce and Scott did. But Rob pointed out after the game that, the Rangers, each time that he was on, they were worried about him stealing. And so, like, he said, he creates a different kind of havoc even when he's not running, because he's got them worried about him running. 2 fun stats about Justin Crawford. He became the first Philly to get a hit in his first at bat on opening day since Denny Doyle in 1970.
Yeah, I did not have that one. I would not have guessed that.
Like, first, so think about that. So it's like first major league hit in his first at bat, first time on opening day, first time since 1970. And he's also the first, or the first Phillies rookie. So, or youngest, I should say, put it this way, the youngest player to have a 2-hit game in his first game in the major leagues since Mike Anderson in 1972. So we're going way back. Like, this is an example of, we talk about the Phillies don't really develop these young players. You know, this is a good start. I mean, by the way, I have another one last thing that I'm going to, this just reminded me of something that I should have brought up as one last thing. So we could talk about the Mets situation at some point, and don't feel like you're stomping all over one last thing, because I got another one that just came to my head that I was like, we should definitely make that one last thing. So there you go.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I look at this though, and I go, okay, great. So we just talked about all the primary things that happened early in this game that were meaningful. And what do you want to say? Do you want to talk about Kyle Schwarber hitting a home run? To me, there's not a lot to say there. That's why you re-sign the guy. It's what you expect from him. The Rangers, I don't know if you caught the Rangers broadcast, the audio, talking about how he flipped one over the left field wall for a cheapie. I'm like, it was out of 25 parks, man. Like, it wasn't a cheapie. Like, he got that one.
Yeah, no, he did. And he said he knew he got it too. The thing
you could see, I'm right on TV. I mean, as soon as he made contact, all you had to do was just look at his body language, and you're like, it's out of here.
Yeah. The thing that impresses me about it, Bob, like, I mean, yeah, you know, Kyle Schwarber's going to hit home runs. We know that, right? You shouldn't be in awe or be impressed by the fact that the guy hits home runs. It's what he does. But what impresses me about it is that it's first at bat of the season. Like, you just come up there like, all right, here we go. I'm not going to have another slow start. I'm going to pick up right where I left off in my career year last year, and I'm going to put us up 2-0 in the first inning. Like, that's the part that impresses me.
Yeah,
right. Like, it's not like he needed a few at bats to get there. It was the first at bat. Like, let's go. Here we go. Get on my back. I'm carrying the load again. Like, that's what impresses me about him.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, look, and then the biggest hit of the game came in the 5th inning, the 3-run homer by Alec Boehm, and weird day there. You know, I don't know if you want to talk about that. I don't know
what to say about it.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. I mean, for those of you that don't know, I'm sure most of you do. There was a report in the Inquirer yesterday that Alec Boehm was suing his parents for mishandling funds, I guess, of his, and that's a terrible story. I mean, like, I don't even know what to say about it other than that I hope that they can come together and figure it out. I mean,
and get it resolved.
It sounds terrible.
You feel bad because it's such a horrible thing that, you know, it's family, right? And this is not. But I don't want anybody to think that this is not normal. Like, I should say not normal, but I mean, there is precedent, right? I mean, we know about the Ryan Howard situation. Remember Ryan Howard a few years back with his brother and his parents with the money out and go to a different sport. I mean, it was even worse in hockey with Jack Johnson. Yeah. Like, he sued his parents as well. Like, there have been, you know, if you go into the world of entertainment, like, we have to remember, I think, you know, and I did see some criticism, like, dude, Alec Boehm's almost 30 and his parents are managing his money. What I can tell you is that you got to remember that these athletes were entertainers. If you go into the entertainment industry, if you remember the whole Britney Spears thing, right? I mean, like there's all kinds of things where parents are super involved. Eric Lindros's parents were involved when Eric Lindros was here. You got to remember that they were kind of like child prodigies, right? I mean, so they didn't grow up the way we grew up.
Right.
They didn't have to have these life lessons on how to manage money or how to handle that, because they were 24/7 focused on becoming the best in the world or one of the best in the world at their craft. Okay. And so to have family kind of be there to handle certain financial matters, it's not that uncommon.
Yeah, I mean, look, he also has his own foundation, or previously had his own foundation. Yeah. There's a website, and I mean, if you look at the tab that says Our Team, I mean, his parents are the 2 directors with him, right? And you know, their mission, the mission of the Alec Boehm Foundation, is to inspire philanthropy and create meaningful impact in communities nationwide. And look, I don't know what all that means, but obviously they're involved in that, and it's not atypical for parents to have a hand in how those finances get dealt with. It's a crappy story.
I mean, it sucks. But I'll say this, as someone who has, you know, I have a kid about his age, who's on his own and doing his own thing and he's very successful, and that's great. And I have other children as well. But if I think back to when Alec Bohm was first signed by the Phillies, and you get that first contract, right?
Yeah.
And if I had to think about any of my kids at that same age with suddenly having access to a couple $1,000,000, like, they would be out of control if I didn't help manage it. Like, I mean, let's be honest. Like, so unless you have children at that age and know what they're like you can understand why parents want to be involved.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know if the allegations are true or whatever. Obviously, you don't want parents stealing their children's money or misappropriating their children's money, defrauding them. But at the same time, you can understand why at the outset they're involved and why they may stay involved for a few years.
Yeah, look, and I don't mean to make light of this whatsoever, but I mean, like, I texted this to you yesterday, and I was not trying to be funny, but like, he's in a contract year, and from what this sounds like, that contract here is now more important. Like, I mean, like, on a human level for him, like, I hope you're able to recoup that. And look, without knowing the details, you can't really speak to it. But this year really matters to this guy on a personal level, and we did talk about that last week. I mean, yes, you always think about how a player fits into a team's plans, but just from an individual standpoint, what's at stake for him? This is a massive, massive, massive year. So he gets on base twice yesterday, draws a walk, hits a 3-run homer, and like, I hope for the Phillies and I hope for him that that's the start of things to come. I mean, that's exactly what you need from him, and he did it off of a pretty good right-handed pitcher who was mowing the Phillies down after that Schwarber home run. So it was a huge hit for them yesterday.
Let me ask you this, Bob, and this kind of again, this isn't us talking about the issue with the lawsuit, but it does kind of relate to it. Have we underestimated the mental toughness of Alec Bohm?
Well,
I'll tell you why I asked that question.
Sure.
He was basically a human trade rumor for the last 2 years. And there was maybe 24 was a little overstated after the 24 season, but this past offseason was certainly not. Like, if they signed Bo Bichette, Alec Bohm was gone. There was no question about it. And the Phillies admitted they thought they had a deal in place. So you basically know for a fact that the plan as of February did not include Alec Bohm, right? And yet here he is batting cleanup on opening day and hitting a big 3-run home run. Oh, by the way, 2 days after he sued his parents for stealing money from him.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Like, do we underestimate the mental toughness because he had the I effing hate this place moment, and because he spikes his bat and throws his helmet? Like, do we underestimate it?
Yeah, I think it's a fair question. I know we did talk a little bit about this earlier in the week. I mean, look, there's the on-field stuff. There's the way that he has carried himself at times, and it does not look good. I would say that it frankly looks childish at times. But he was able to deal with, and I think from a professional standpoint, he dealt with the trade rumors very well. He did not say anything about the Phillies. He did not publicly, feel sorry for himself. He's really done everything the right way. And to the degree that this is a player with high expectations who struggled and was able to overcome it and sort of stabilize his career. Because, look, if you go back a few years ago and you talk about where he was defensively, you kind of wonder, like, is this guy going to be around in two years from now? The fact that he's here and the fact that he is a useful baseball player, we can all talk about the merits and the merits of him being in the middle of the lineup. And is he really, truly what this team needs? Can they upgrade it? Sure. Like, those are all fair conversations, but the fact that he is a meaningful piece of what they're doing still, I think is a testament to his resolve. Like, a lot of guys would have maybe just said, you know what, this isn't going to work. I can't do it. I'm not good enough. And they would have wilted, and that would have been the end of it. Like, this guy's still here and he's still punching, and I give him credit for that. I do give him credit for that.
Yeah, I do too. Real quick, before we move on to the next topic, we have a few comments I just want to bring up. Amy Sabensky says, it's okay to enjoy things, even if they don't win at all. I agree, Amy. I agree. Enjoy baseball for what it is. Jerry Martin mentions that the broadcast really nailed the Garcia was being pitched inside and hard at that. Obviously, Tom and Crocker agree with noticing it, but they're right. They kept it hard and inside every at-bat. So that's an interesting thing. That's probably something we're going to have to watch out for. Emoji says, "I'm so hyped to see you guys again." Well, thanks, Emoji. We're hyped to be back for you. And then Joe Carmazin mentions Brandon Marsh had a good game as well. So I had him on your list.
I had a buddy who was sniffing around a same game parlay around 3 p.m. yesterday. And he said, "What do you think?" And I said, "Well," I was like, "there's the possibility that he's out of the game by the 6th or 7th inning. So you're going to have to do it early." But I said, Brandon Marsh was so bad in March down there in Florida that I almost would just take him to have a nice game because. And sure enough, I mean, talk about unscientific rationale. But I said, yeah, maybe Marsh. Yeah, it was nice to see because, I mean, he was woeful. And I did previously mention this as well. I mean, you look at how he started last year. And so you don't overreact to spring training. Again, we have to say it every show. But you still look at the way things started in 25 and you go like, boy, this is rough. So to see him get off to a nice start was probably good for him, quell any of those concerns as well. Now that we've gotten all the pleasantries out of the way, can we talk about the 9th inning?
Yes.
So, obviously you get the 6 strong from Sanchez. That's wonderful. You get Bolin comes out in the 7th and, he throws a clean inning, scoreless inning. And then you get to the 8th and they go Pop. And let me just say something about Pop. Like, I don't see it.
Well, I don't think, I mean, let's just be honest, Bob. I mean, Ryan Kerkering is, on a rehab assignment. And like, I got to think that once Kerkering comes back, that's the guy who he replaces.
And I mean, his inning yesterday was fine enough. I mean, he didn't allow a hit. He walked one, whatever. Like nothing. He had nothing to do with the outcome of the game, or in terms of things falling apart later. He doesn't draw the ire here. But I'm, okay. So you set that up, and then if you're Rob, you're doing the press your luck thing here now, right? Where you're like, okay, I've gotten through this without my guys. Can I get one more? Can I get 3 more outs, up 5 in the 9th inning? And, obviously he goes to Backus, and that was a disaster. He gives up 3 hits, and it escalated quickly on him, obviously. Seager singles to start the inning, and then Berger very quickly homers, turning it into a save situation. So this was not a slow build. But then you kind of go into this mad dash to get him ready, try to get him in the game, Duran into the game. I mean, the whole thing was just kind of a little bit of a mess. And fundamentally speaking, like I complained about it, and I saw a lot of people say, like, look, it's game 1. You can't, you don't have to throw the kitchen sink. And I'm like, you don't have to throw the kitchen sink, but you have 3 guys in the back end of your bullpen. You haven't played a live game since Monday. You're off tomorrow. Like, use one of them. Like, why even enter that situation and create that chaos late? Like, I'm not saying they're lucky they won. They controlled the game, and once Duran came in, it was essentially over. But would have liked to have just seen a little bit more aggressiveness. And it's a thing that I felt like for years with Rob, where it's just like, come on, dude, like just put your foot on the gas, get the win, and get the hell out of there.
Yeah, look, I'm okay. Look, so I look at Bolin, right? And I think Bolin is, because Tim Kelly said to me right away, he's like, why Bolin and why not just go, Keller, Alvarado, Duran, 7, 8, 9? And I'm like, well, it's 5-0. You could probably get away with an inning without going to one of your guys. You could save one, at least save one of them.
Yeah.
Right. And Bolin is a guy who is, they're going to count on for a lot of these middle relief innings, kind of in that Tanner Banks category, just from the right side. Right. So you look at that, that's what Bolin's going to be. So I'm like, okay. Then the 8th inning, when he goes to Pop, I'm sitting there like, all right, something's up here. Like, what is he doing? And he explained it after the game. Take this as you will. If he doesn't throw Bowman, Pop, and Backus because of the off day today, they would have gone 5 days without throwing. And the regular guys, Keller, Alvarado, and Duran, had been 3 days.
Okay.
It's been 3 days. So like that. So he looked at it and said, we have a comfortable enough lead. I need to get these guys some innings. I'm going to go to it. You're right. He went to the well one too many times. He could have, what I would have done if with his rationale, I'm okay with saying, all right, I got to get a couple of these guys innings. So fine. You go 8, 9, and it matched up for Pop because Pop was facing righties there. Okay, fine. And you were saving Backus for the lefties in the lineup. But to me, I go into the 9th inning. If you don't want to use Duran, I have Alvarado ready or Banks ready. I mean, you got lefties coming up, right?
Yeah.
In that spot, let's not let it get out of hand. Let's not throw it to another new guy. Give it to one of the lefties you trust and you trust. Let them just get you out of it. Even if you want to save Duran, I get it. But he didn't. He went to Backus and it hurt him, and now he had to use Duran in the opener.
Yeah, and they win the game. It's fine. And I think it was Gelb who's like, this is a perfect Phillies win. A lot of good things happen. Everyone has something to complain about. I'm not saying it's the end of the world, but it just speaks to, and this is really my point. If I failed to kind of bring this home earlier, I want to restate it. It's a pattern for me. And I know it's early. I know also that they play 5 consecutive days after the off day today, so there's not a break in between these first 2 series once you get going. And you want to ease guys in and be conservative, but that explanation kind of annoys me though. It would have been 5 days. The other guys are 3. These are the guys you need. I don't care. Just go get the win on opening day. You have the off day built in, and I just want to see them be aggressive. I don't want them to be reckless. I don't want them to be stupid. I don't want them to try to prove something in some ultra macho, we're going to play every game with our hair on fire. I'm not saying you have to do that, but I just think over time, when you don't drop the hammer again and again and again, it can change a team's mindset. And I'm telling you, I thought they were much better with that a year ago, but in 24, you tell me everything that went wrong in 2024, I think that was the single most important thing. They just didn't play with urgency, and that came from a lot of the decisions strategically from that manager or that front office or whatever tandem combines to make their decisions pregame.
You mean the computer, as Garrett Stubbs says?
Yeah, the computer.
The computer made
that's my only thing. And I don't want to overreact. I don't, probably should stop talking about it now. But that's just my overall. That's my frustration with what we saw yesterday.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got? Where do you want to go? You want to wrap? Do you want to keep going? What do you want to do?
I got a couple quick hitters on the Phillies. Then I want to talk about the Mets thing, and then I have one last thing. So
okay.
I think that's how we'll wrap. Just a couple quick hitters. There were some injury updates yesterday. So just so everybody knows, both Zach Wheeler and Orion Kerkering are pitching tomorrow, Saturday, for Lehigh Valley.
Are you still going?
I am going. I will be there. I'm skipping Aaron Nola versus Jacob deGrom, which, by the way, the last time they faced off against each other, I was at the game. It was at Citi Field, and it was in 2021, and it was a 1-0 Mets victory. Both deGrom and Nola were unbelievable. They were awesome in that game, and deGrom was just that much better. He shut out the Phillies. I think Nola went 7 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, 9 strikeouts. I think that's what it was. So he had a really good game, but deGrom was that much better. So I'm skipping that to go up there to watch these guys pitch. Zach Wheeler will be 3 innings, 50 pitches. What does that tell you, Bob?
Tells you that he will make 2 rehab starts, and if everything goes as planned, he'll be pitching for the Phillies in that 3rd one.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning that way too. I could see potentially, depending on how they go, maybe a 3rd rehab start.
You don't think it jumps from 50 to 65 to 75, 80, and that's 75, 80, they say, here you go, Zach. We're not going to waste 80 bullets on, a rehab start, whether that be with Lehigh. What was it last week? We were saying that if he was with the Iron Pigs, he would have to go to Durham for that start. Yeah. They could also reassign him and have him pitch. Well, no, I guess they couldn't, right? What's the deal with Reading right now?
Yeah, they're not.
They don't ramp up yet, right?
Right, they're not ready yet.
So I don't know. There's obviously other ways that you can handle that.
Yeah,
you don't have to have him pitch live on the field, but at that point, if you don't want to send him down there, you probably don't want him to throw a simulated game at that volume. He's probably coming back to Philly.
Yeah, I think so too. And it was interesting because when Rob was talking about Kerkering, he said Kerkering is going to probably make 7 or 8 relief appearances with Lehigh Valley before he gets back. He mentioned that Kerkering is going to Durham. He's going to go on the trip to Durham. Uh-huh. He didn't say anything about Zach going to Durham.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm curious to see what happens with after Saturday, what the plan is after Saturday. So that's going to be an interesting thing. But the fact that, like you said, the fact that he's at 50 pitches in the first one means probably 65, 4 and 65 the second second outing, and then you're at 5-75. Is that ready to go at major league level?
Yeah.
We'll see. So that's an interesting thing. The Daniel Roberts story, what a sad story that was. I mean, I know he feels fine and he's home and he's resting and he's going to be okay. And that's obviously the really good news. But, the fact that he had that cardiac issue at the end of last year and he had that device put in that kind of controls or lets him know when he's having one. And the first time he goes to pitch, he, clutches his chest and falls to his knee. That's concerning.
Can I ask you, about that specifically? Is there? Certainly he had to have been training and doing things from a cardiovascular standpoint. Was that purely coincidental?
It could have been.
Had to be, right?
It could have been. Absolutely could have been. Right. I mean, it was scary and it's sad, but you got to wonder now. He shut down again.
Well, that's where I'm kind of going with this. Do you say, well, look, I could have been, going to the grocery store, been doing any of my rehab workouts or anything, and that could have happened? Or do you say okay, this is 2 times now, and
yeah, that's what I'm saying. When do you even consider going again? I don't know anything about the medical side. I don't know what the doctors are going to say, but when do you even think about getting back on a mound and throwing a pitch again after that happened? So I don't know. I just think that's a shame. He's a good guy, and I wish nothing but the best for him. Call him the big dog. That's his nickname, the big dog. But yeah, and then the last one is there were 2 more updates. It was Gabriel Rincones is back to full baseball activity, just not in a game yet. I imagine that will happen pretty soon. And it's worth mentioning that because the Phillies kind of look at him as a potential call up at some point this season if he's hitting. So it's worth mentioning that. Aiden Miller still doing nothing but glove work.
Yeah.
No swinging of a bat yet. I have a feeling, Bob, that this is going to drag on and on and on, and it's going to become an issue.
If I said to you, you must withdraw $500 from your checking account this morning and place a bet on whether or not you see Aiden Miller in a Phillies uniform this season, your bet would be
no.
Yeah.
No. And that's a whole. If you asked me that question a month ago, not even 3 weeks ago, it would have been on yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things happening right now as we talk with this team, and this is not one of them. It's unfortunate because this is a guy that I think you really should be excited about, or are supposed to be excited about, and it just looks like it's at a total standstill. I think it's very, very, very concerning. The ambiguity around it too, I think it compounds the concern for me.
I'm with you because when a sports franchise keeps it so close to the vest about a guy's recovery or a guy's injury and doesn't give you any answers, there's no timeline, there's nothing that doesn't usually bode well.
No.
Right? That's not usually something they're trying to keep a secret because, all of a sudden he's going to be good and then he's going to be here and playing. It's usually because, it's probably going to be longer than we think, but we don't want to say anything just yet.
Yes, I agree with you there.
So that's a disappointing thing for the Phillies. By the way, Amy Semensky points out, I'm going up there tomorrow. I'm going to try some of those barbecue ribs. How about that as a promotion?
It's very well done. It's very opportunistic. You think that they sell out, or do people just go, this weather? It's great to see these guys, but no, I'm good.
Oh, I did. So last year,
it's gonna be I
was there for the Andrew Painter debut last year. And it wasn't sold. It was a good crowd for a minor league game, but it wasn't sold out. So I don't think you're going to see a sellout, but I do think you're going to see a lot of people go, oh man, I get to watch Zach Wheeler pitch for the first time against opposing hitters since the injury. I'm going to go check that out, right? And they're going to grab some tickets, and it's a fun promotion with the ribs, and it's funny. So yeah, I think they'll get a decent crowd. The weather is not going to be great, but it's better than it was supposed to be earlier this week. Earlier this week, there was a thought that it might rain tomorrow, and that there would he wouldn't pitch.
What time is first pitch tomorrow?
I think it's 4. It's either 4 or 4:30. I got to double check that. It's in the afternoon.
It's going to be 39 degrees tomorrow, and if there's any breeze to it, it'll feel like it's going to feel like an NFC Championship game out there.
Yeah, it'll be cold. It's not going to be great, but hey, is what it is. What it is what it is. We've talked about it a little bit, Bob. That first inning of the Pirates Mets yesterday was as adventurous as it gets for O'Neal Cruz in center field for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
I mean, look, Paul Skeens stunk yesterday, and I know that the Cruz plays are what blew it open, but Lindor walk, Soto single, sac fly by Bichette, Polanco single. Now that was an infield single. There's some luck to that. Luis Robert walks. He had thrown 30 pitches by the time the O'Neal Cruz stuff had even happened. So he was laboring to begin with. And then, O'Neal Cruz lit it on fire. Beatty comes up, hits what should have been a sac fly to tie the game out to center field. Cruz freezes, sails over his head, turns into a 3-run triple. Very next play, next batter, Simeon comes up, shallow fly ball, routine as it gets to center field. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this by now. He can't find it. It's a double. Another run scores. Skeens is out of the game. I mean, it was a disaster. Imagine being a Pirates fan. Like, it's been a rough go being in Pittsburgh as a baseball fan. There's some optimism about that team, like that they could be, spunky. They have like a puncher's chance. Skeens is on the mound. At least if nothing else, you have your guy on the mound. And 22 minutes into the season. And by the way, the Pirates scored 2 in the top of the first. So you're like, all right, let's go. Let's get one here. And then 22 minutes later, you're like, it's over. If I'm doing a Pirates podcast and I'm like a diehard Pirates fan, we're doing this right now. I'm like, it's over. What are we doing? And also, by the way, it's just a matter of time before we lose Paul Skeens because he's going to rip his hair out and force a trade.
Yeah. Although I will say, they put up 7 runs.
I know,
Josh Lowe, a couple home runs.
Like I said, I mean, you look at that team, like there's –
wow. I keep forgetting he's the wow.
There's like something there. It's not – this team's a little bit better than some of these recent iterations. So, I mean, we'll see what happens there. But that was as bad as it gets. I mean, just horrible. I watched that live, too. It was on NBC here locally, which was also very strange. But, yeah, I mean – that's tough for Paul Skeens. I mean, like I said, his ERA did drop, or it rose yesterday from, I believe it was 1.94 to 2.10. I mean, that's a pretty significant jump. That's what happens when you give up 5 runs in less than an inning. So
that said, what was your thought on the since you watched most of the game and I didn't see any of it? All I did was see the box score because I was in the clubhouse when all this nonsense was taking place. What was your thought on the Mets pitching?
Oh, he certainly struggled. I mean, Peralta yesterday was not very good. He wasn't good early. Then they stake him to a 3-run lead after the first inning. And, both bullpens struggled a little bit. I'm sorry, the Pirates bullpen struggled a little bit. So the Mets were able to kind of tack on once you got to the middle innings again. But, I mean, Peralta was not very good yesterday. And that's what you say. It's one game. It's early. I don't have any, sweeping. I don't want to make any sweeping generalizations, but he did struggle yesterday. And Mets swung it though a little bit, and
he's their ace.
Yeah.
I mean, I know McLean's probably better,
but are we going to? I know you hate them. I get it, but are we really going to do this? Like, we're going to be like, oh, Freddie Peralta stinks now. Like,
no, I don't say Freddie Peralta stinks. Freddie Peralta's a good pitcher. Freddie Peralta's a good pitcher. I'm saying that. I'll put it on the record. He's a good pitcher.
Yeah.
He improves their rotation.
By you, yes.
Yes, he improves their rotation. But
what?
Look at the Mets, what their ace does on day one versus what the Phillies ace does on day one.
Yeah, okay.
That's all.
All right.
And then, of course, as I pointed out, you go 39-year-old Luis Garcia coming out of the pen, and he gives up 3 hits and 2 runs.
Yeah.
I guess Tobias Myers was okay for a few innings for them, but I just don't see it. Let's talk about some other writers about it and at lunch yesterday, and they're with me.
Are they? I was going to say, are you out on an island here, or is everyone seeing it the same way as you?
Yeah, I mean, pitching. They're concerned about the pitch. I mean, the Mets lineup is decent. It's a decent lineup. I don't know how great it is at 7, 8, 9, but it's still a pretty good lineup. But yeah, I just don't.
Very interesting. I read a piece on ESPN.com this morning. It's live right now. And it basically talks about the teams that can win it right now. Who has the best shot of dethroning the Dodgers? And they have the Mets as the number one option, the most likely option.
Yeah, well, I have the Mets. By the way, we didn't even do our season predictions, but in mine, I have the Mets playing the Dodgers in the playoffs.
That's fun.
But losing to them. I think the Mets are a wild card. I think the Phillies win the division. I think the Mets are a wild card team. And then I wouldn't be surprised if the Mets won their wild card series and then ended up facing the Dodgers in the second round, and that's where they would lose. That's my thought.
I know that Bichette had a sac fly early yesterday to get the Mets on the board, but he was 0 for 4 and absolutely got his doors blown off. I think it was like the fourth or fifth inning, and it was 1-2-3. I mean, 99 up in the zone. He had nothing for it. It was – I don't blame that guy for what happened. Like, I don't wish bad things for him, but, like, there's like a little bit of good.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing that I wanted to make sure that we touched on before, however you want to close this down. Duran yesterday becomes the first Phillies reliever to ever record a save at home on opening day. That seems preposterous. Are we making a big deal about how ridiculous that is?
It does seem preposterous, but let me throw a few things at you, okay? One, when did they start tracking saves? This was early 70s, right? I believe it was, right? Yeah. So you basically have to eliminate the first 80 years of Phillies history for that purpose alone. And keep in mind also back in the olden days, pitchers routinely threw 9 innings. Like there was no bullpen per se, right? Okay. So there's that. And then secondarily, not every season starts at home.
Sure. Right?
So I don't know what the exact number. I didn't go back through year by year. But I got to think that this is probably 26, 27 home openers or opening days where you started at home. Obviously, you lose some of them. So how many do you win out of those 26, 27? Let's say you win a dozen.
Now, what would have been fun is if we could have gone back prior to the start of the save. Did it situationally occur where you could assign a save?
Possibly.
Like, oh, he was on the mound. Lead was fewer than 3 or fewer.
Yeah.
Would have recorded a save. I'm just looking at the list here of Phillies relievers who have recorded a save on opening day. Joe Horner in 1972. Can't say I remember him. Ricky Bo, 97. Jeff Brantley in 99. Jose Mesa, 03. Papelbon, 2012. Jmar Gomez, 2017. So it had been 9 years since a Phillies reliever recorded a save on opening day.
Yeah. So, I mean, but my point is that while it sounds crazy, when you really whittle it down, it's less crazy. It's still wild that it's never happened, but it's not as insane as you think it really is.
Fair enough.
So, yeah. All right. Here's my one last thing, Bob. And like I said, it dawned on me in mid-show that we had to talk about this. And we talked about Aiden Miller earlier, and how it's disappointing, whatever. The Phillies drafted Aiden Miller, whatever it was, 23rd, or I forget what the number was overall the year that they drafted him. Who did they draft him ahead of that made his major league debut yesterday?
This is weak. I saw this, and someone was saying, how do you take Aiden Miller over this guy? Who was it?
Kevin McGonigal.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Detroit Tigers. He's considered the number 2 prospect overall, Major League pipeline. Oh, by the way, he's from Delco.
Yeah.
Monsignor Bonner, Archbishop Prendergast in the house. 4-hit game as a rookie in his first game on opening day.
Not bad.
Two doubles, 2 RBIs. That's a hell of a way to make your introduction to Major League Baseball with 4 hits in your Major League debut.
Yeah, pretty good. I hope Aiden Miller, when he arrives, makes us not lament that is the way things transpire. Do you hold the real conversation here is, do you give the Phillies any grief because he's a local kid? Like, you should have been on that? You should have known better?
I don't know. Like, so let's put it this way. So, I talked to Matt DeGeorge, from Delaware County Times. Matt covered McGonigal when he was in high school. And, and he said to me, he said, listen, he says, I'll be honest with you. He said, when I watched him play as a sophomore, as a junior, like you could tell that this was not a typical high school bat. Like you knew that there was something a lot better there. He said, did I think he would rise to the point where he would be the number 2 prospect in baseball and then have a 4-hit game in his debut in the major leagues? No. So there is that, like, he kind of came out of nowhere a little bit. I mean, he was a good prospect, but I mean, if he was that highly touted, you would think he would have gone somewhere in the first 10 to 15 picks of that draft, right? Instead of falling to the bottom of the round. So, good on the Tigers for recognizing it. Should the Phillies have known a little bit more because he's in their backyard? Yeah, I guess. But should the Phillies have known Mike Trout, right? Like, like I'm saying, not that they had a chance to take him, but I'm just saying, like, should they have known, like, any of these guys that are local that make it to the majors and usually make it to the majors for another team? Yeah. Like, it's scouting, man. It's an inexact science.
Fair enough. Should I real quick here? One last thing. Mike Trout yesterday stole a base. He homered.
Yeah.
Are we going to get are we going to get a vintage Trout year here? And I don't even know what a vintage Trout year is anymore. Hopefully it's more than 42 games, I guess. But I mean, are we talking about like mid-July? We do this every year. Like the Phillies will probably add at the deadline. Well, who are they going to add? Who's out there with the 24 teams in contention? The market's not like, super frothy for trade deadline acquisition impact bats. Are we going to be talking about Mike Trout again in 3 months?
Could be. What do you consider? So I don't know. Do I think Mike Trout is a 1,000 OPS guy like he was for 3 straight years back in 17, 18, 19? No. Do I think he's probably in the high 8s if he has a healthy season? Yeah. Like, I could see, I mean, his partial seasons in 23 and 24 were decent enough. Last year, he was his worst year of his career since he was 19 years old. Still hit 26 home runs last year.
Still at 800 OPS, hitting 232.
Yeah, right. I think he's probably a little bit better than he was last year, but maybe not vintage. Mm-hmm. If he stays healthy, health is the most important thing. Yeah. And look, if you're the Phillies, where are you putting Mike Trout in July? I just don't see it.
Yeah.
It'd be nice for a lot of people.
I know. I don't think it's ever going to happen. I just saw the game yesterday. He walked 3 times, homered, stole a base. So here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
We're going to be talking about this again.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think that's going to happen. But anyway, all right. So just 2 more Phillies games this weekend. We got the Nola and DeGrom tomorrow. We got Luzardo versus Philly killer Mackenzie Gore on Sunday. I think that they split these last 2, Bob. I think
agreed.
I think that's how it goes. And then we will be back on Monday to break it all down and to look ahead to the Washington Nationals in the second series of the season. So thanks for tuning in today. We appreciate everyone for hopping on the program. You can find us, if you want to listen to us, while you're driving around in your car in a podcast feed. Don't forget, you can find us anywhere that you get your podcasts, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Pandora, any of those places. And if you're listening to the podcast feed and you want to watch us, you want to look at our faces as we're talking about this, I don't know why you would, but if in case you do, you can do that right here on YouTube, and you can subscribe on YouTube. You click that thumbs up, ring the bell. You'll never miss a show because you'll get an alert when Bob and I go live twice a week to talk about the Phillies, and that's at youtube.com/@Phightin Words. So for Bob Wankel, I'm Anthony Sanfilippo saying thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on